Good afternoon. I am Dr. Derek Molacek, Applied Low Brass faculty at Iowa Western Community College. Today, we will be discussing the slow etude out of the Voxman book, written by Bohme on page 13 in D minor for the 2019 Iowa All-State auditions. This etude is a lyrical etude and offers a lot in terms of playing smooth and playing lyrically. Tempo marking is taken at quarter note equals 96. At least that is the marking that I've seen for a number of other players. However, I do recommend taking this one a little slower just to bring up the more vocal qualities of this piece. Dynamics is a must on this one, with gradual changes from piano all the way up to forte and mezzo forte. This is one where you can also be a little bit more expressive with your dynamics, especially on the crescendos and the decrescendos. Breathing is very important in this piece. I have marked breath marks usually about every 2.5 bars, but also where there is space between the phrase / slur markings. Some of these are a little bit harder to find or a little bit harder to place than others. Another issue with this etude in particular is the trill that is found on the last 4 bars. Now, we have trombones. It is very difficult for us to play a standard half-note trill. For those particular bars, this is where a lip trill is very important, also known as a shake if you're a jazz player. The precision of this will be very tricky because of the fact that it is in a lower register than you would normally find a lip trill. Once you get to the upper register of the horn, it is a lot easier to go back and forth and a lot easier to control. Once you're in the lower register, however, you will not have the stepwise or half-stepwise motion that you would want for this trill because of the way the parcels are spaced. It will also not be as clean as, say, a trill on a valved instrument at all. That's just a given because we're playing slide. Other things to be aware of on this etude: be critical as to where to use alternate positions. Think about space between the notes in terms of where you have to move on the horn. If you see a passage where it is a lot easier to go from 3 to 4 rather than 3 to 1, then take it. Especially if it's 3 4 3 or versus 3 1 3. It looks a lot nicer and a lot cleaner. On the last 2 bars, last thing I wanted to mention is take advantage of expressions and the retardandos. Now there is one about 5 lines in, actually the 5th line from the bottom. Bring that out, really over-dramatize that in your audition. But I would also recommend using one of the last 2 bars just to say that it's a closing piece. I will now, before I demonstrate this on the trombone, watch where the slur and phrase markings are. And showing those separations between the different groups is very important, especially in passages like the first 4 bars. Let me demonstrate. Notice how in the first 2 bars you have a 3-note marking that is slurred and then another 3-note marking. Make sure you have the space between each of those 2 markings. Versus on the second 2 bars where the whole 6-note line bar is connected together. That is very important because it will determine separation and determines the style of how you're going to separate. To connect them all together is not advisable in this case. I will now demonstrate this etude for you on my trombone. Thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck on your audition, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.